So with that, we're going to get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right here with you guys. And I'm going to try and go back and forth in the comments for you as well. So let's just see, here we are. All right. Hey, Rocco, welcome. Thought Rocco was going to be a little later. That's awesome though. I'm excited about that. So we're just getting started. Let's see. You're even back at Rocco. Welcome. You're even back at your house, huh?
Yeah. It was quicker than I thought, but I'm jammed up for the next 6 weeks.
Yikes, man. What a trooper Rocco is. Can you imagine working on a computer all day and having a busted thumb? Ouch.
Yeah.
Not fun. So thank you, Rocco, for being here. Rocco actually came right from the doctor's office. So thanks for being here. And thank you guys, all of you who are here and in the group. So first of all, we're ready to kick off 2023. I said it before and I said I would say it again. In order to recession proof your mortgage business, it's going to be like free throws with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant practicing when they were not champions and when they were champions again and again. So for you guys who are here, how many of you guys are ready to recession proof your mortgage business? You can, you go ahead and put a 1. And Rocco, I don't know if you're in it, but they're actually commenting in the Facebook group live. So
Everybody feels bad for me for my thumb. I'm just on the Zoom.
Yeah. So if you guys are ready, you're go ahead, Rocco.
No, that's it. I'm here. I'll be cutting you off and jumping in whenever I get my chances to.
Awesome. So you guys are definitely in the right place today. If any of this sounds like you, all right, if you are struggling to find solid clients and referrals, if you are dealing with a lot of changes at the same time, right? Oh my gosh, rates are up. Inventory is not what it was. It's crazy, but if people want to buy, is it a good time to buy? If you're losing clients on high interest rates, if the slowing market is bothering you, affecting your income, affecting your pipeline, if you're unsure how to make connections and meet new people, right? We just spent, basically a couple of years shuttered inside. Really, it was only 1 year, but depending on where you are in the country, people are still like coming out, from their house to actually go to an office. Many people just don't even go to an office anymore. So how do you connect? How do you meet people? If you're wondering who has all the good deals and referrals, if you haven't found a way to get inside that small circle of LOs with the realtors are always giving their referrals to. If you struggle with call reluctance, you are absolutely in the right place. If you want to make better, smarter, more effective calls and prospecting, you are absolutely in the right place. So welcome. So I'm Elysia Stobbe. This is the slide Rocco likes to read.
Yeah, you don't like to brag on yourself. Let me brag on you, Elysia. I will. And then you can maybe say something nice about me later. But for those of you that are in the group, you might have read one of Elysia's best-selling books, or you just might have been part of one of her other training programs. I'll just summarize this. She has really been the industry leader now for quite some time in figuring out how to navigate the industry, the marketplace that you're in, and not having to be somebody who's just relying on circumstances that are out of your control to be able to grow your business. She teaches the principles and philosophies that are time tested, but has moved them forward into a digital age so you can still connect and build your referral relationships, how to work with those people, the realtors that can feed you business. And I've just had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with you, Elysia, over the past just a couple of years now. And I just appreciate your tenacity in the business. And I could go on, but I don't think that anybody would be in the Facebook group if they didn't trust in the sense that with your experience, it's one thing to have somebody who has the experience that Elysia has in the industry, but it's a whole nother thing when she could take that knowledge and translate it into something of being able to teach it. Not everybody can teach. So that's just a skill set or natural ability that you have, Elysia, there, being able to translate and no nonsense stuff too. So I just appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah. And I should give you guys, Rocco needs his own slide too. Rocco has been in prospecting and sales for 2 decades, as long as I've been in mortgages.
Yeah.
So Rocco's experience in terms of moving the needle forward, knowing exactly what needs to be done step by step to build trust, to build that relationship with the prospect, and the sequence, which we talked about before, we'll talk about a little bit, but the sequence, which is so important, that you guys really need to pay attention to. And we're going to talk about that today as well. So, all right, sweet. So we're going to show you how to recession-proof your mortgage business by building a massive referral network in as little as 5 minutes a day. Now, you're going to start out doing 5 minutes, maybe, maybe not. One of the reasons I love this training in January is because we all know that this is typically a slower month of the year. The idea is to build the work on prospecting day in and day out, and then build it up little by little by little every day. Because there's no way that if you do the prospecting activities on a daily basis, it's impossible not to succeed if you do the correct activities and you do them consistently. And when you start in January, we're trying to set you up so you build your referral partnerships and your networks, so that when it comes to second quarter, whether the market's up or down from last year, you're ahead of the pack, right? And we already talked about there's less competition right now already.
Yeah, and just, can I say something real quick on the back
Yep.
end of that, Elysia? Just in the fact that, you know, a little bit of a tongue in cheek on 5 minutes. Yes, there's consistency to be able to do it for 5 minutes, but if you take the other side of the coin, there is sometimes a sense out there that I think that people get that, hey, in order to be a prospector, a master prospector, I need to be pounding the phones or the pavement or whatever those activities that you need to do on a daily basis. You think you need to be doing that for 5 to 6 hours a day. And that's just not the case. What happens when you try and do that is you wind up burning out really fast. I prefer consistency every time over somebody. What do we say? I think we talked about this on one of these trainings that we did before together, where the doctor never said to, you know, eat 30 apples in one day, right? He said that you eat 1 apple a day. And so if it's 5 minutes a day for you, that's better than no minutes. 15 better, but I don't think we ever get too far outside the world of an hour, maybe to an hour and a half to 2 hours a day tops in prospecting activities, because of everything else you have to do and still be able to enjoy life. And that's all you need to build a pipeline that'll be chasing you around instead of the other way around.
Exactly. Well said. Thanks, Rocco. And so we're going to talk about authentic sharing technology today, but it's not as intimidating as it may sound. Authentic sharing technology is not dumping a bunch of realtors in your CRM and then expecting the phone to ring. Because you guys tell me, does that work? You can put a yes or a no in the comments. But every time I've seen it, that's definitely not successful. So with this system, there's no cold calling. There's no stalking realtors on social media. There's no clunky CRM. There's no coding. There's no sales funnel for you guys to design. In fact, the entire system we're going to show you today can be run from your cell phone, right in the palm of your hand, anytime, anywhere. And the tools that we're going to talk about and the structure and consistency we're going to talk about, you don't need the app that we're going to share with you. But we're actually going to go through everything step by step by step. So everybody has a cell phone, I'm sure. So what we're going to talk about today, the root cause of lack of sales, the 3-step realtor prospecting blueprint, why automation is the death of relationships and how to replace it with an easy 4-step system, the 8 levers of influence. Once you know what these are and how to use them, you can basically get anyone to do about anything you want them to. So I'm trusting that you will use this power responsibly.
It's the Spider-Man thing, right? With great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
Do not try and manipulate anybody when you learn this stuff. Use it to help people get what they really want and need.
Yeah, don't go to the dark side like Darth Vader. One of my favorite secret weapons to get referral partners to tell you everything about them without feeling like an FBI investigation. I love this. And much more. So right now, if you guys have anything else open, if you heard me talk before, you've heard me say there's working in your business and there's working on your business. So right now we're going to work on your business and go through this training. Working in your business is taking loan apps, checking email. Please close your email, close your Outlook, Gmail, whatever you use, put your phone on silent, put it face down, and get focused, because you do not want to miss anything we're going to cover here today. So top reason for lack of success in sales is the result of any empty pipeline, right? This is actually not caused by a lack of talent, skills, or presentation ability. It's not caused by down markets, rising interest rates, or inferior loan products. The root cause of an empty pipeline is lack of prospecting.
Elysia, it's just one of those things where I've spent the bulk of my career really focusing on prospecting activities. I've divided prospecting and sales completely. Because, and most of the people that are probably watching this right now, when you got into this business, you feel like you were picking up a sales job or a sales opportunity for your business, whatever it is. The truth of the matter is that that's only partially true. You see, prospecting is where you're asking somebody for a commitment of time. It's a whole different animal in what you're going to do every day. And you have to take that hat off, and then you put your sales hat on. That's why I said on another slide there, it's not your ability to present to people. And you get somebody in the room with you, you're good, right? You're good. I can present to them. You've got a good product, or, whatever you have in there, the best version of you. But being able to get those people to a spot where you are selling to them is completely different. And that's what prospecting is about. And that's one of those game changers here that I think you'll pick up today as we go through the rest of the information. So yeah, just something important to stay focused on is knowing the difference between the two.
Yeah, I'll share with you guys a little story I was watching. I'm always checking out other training, whether it's Tony Robbins or it's, somebody else. I never, if I think I know it all, that's a big problem. So I'm always looking for information that I can learn and share with you. And then of course I have 20 years of experience as well. But I was watching a podcast the other day, and it was fascinating because one of the people on the podcast said, we all got fired as loan officers 8 months ago. We just didn't get the memo. Which I thought was hilarious and totally on point, right? Because for the loan officers on the call right now or watching this, you tell me, has the business changed from 8 months ago? Right? I mean, we knew it was coming, right? There's all the foreshadowing from the Fed with raising rates. But also, we're not in that bidding war anymore. There's a lot of great things about this market. So we're going to talk about mindset in the upcoming next few days. That's a whole separate training, which I'm really excited to share with you guys. But yeah, so we got fired 8 months ago and no one got the memo. And what does that even mean? It's funny, right? But the bottom line is, if you're doing the same thing that you were doing 8 months ago, your pipeline has already dwindled, right? If you're just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring, right? Or you're not making effective calls, you're not consistently prospecting, you're not going to have a pipeline that's full of deals. So, learning how to prospect will help you, but will not help you do it consistently. All right.
That's right. Yeah. Basically listen, the thing about it is here's what I can guarantee. I don't know how many people are watching this now or on the Facebook Live. I know some people probably come in and watch the replays as this group continues to grow. And you said it yourself, Elysia, you're listening to a podcast training. I devoured. I mean, I read like 4 different books at a time. Like, I am a student, a lifelong learner. But one of the things that I know for sure is execution does not happen just because I know how to do it. You maybe have heard the story, like there's the 6 frogs on the lily pad, right? There's 6 frogs on a lily pad and 5 of them decided to jump. Well, how many are left on the lily pad? And the answer is 6 are there still, because just deciding to actually do it doesn't mean that they will actually do it. So you're going to absorb all this great information here that you're going to learn today, but that's not going to be the thing that gets you do it consistently. So there's this underlying components here that we're going to share with you. Because again, the light bulb should go off today. Elysia and I have failed you if you sit through this with us for the next however much time we have left together, and we haven't helped you learn something, right? And I know that we're going to over deliver from that standpoint, but that's not going to solve the problem. You have to be able to marry up the knowledge there with a plan, and then even coming back behind that. That's why we've got our little image of our prospecting tool that we're going to show off a little bit later as well. But yeah.
So Excellent. Thanks, Rocco. I hadn't heard that one actually. I love Rocco's antidotes and anecdotes.
I've got a million of them,
Anecdotes.
right?
Yeah, they're great. So developing the mindset of a prospector is within your control and absolutely necessary to keep your pipeline full. What I see time and time again with LOs is they'll get 1, 2, 3 deals, right? Or say you get 8, 9, 10 deals, right? Whatever your threshold is, where you're comfortable versus what puts you over the top. The minute you're busy with those deals, most LOs stop prospecting. So they might have 1 month where they close 5, 6, 7 deals, or whatever your number is, right? 20 deals. And then the next month it goes down to 15 or 10 or whatever the case may be, right? If 8's a stretch for you, then 4 the next month or 3 the next month. The bottom line is you have to consistently prospect. And that's what we're going to talk about also. What is the purpose of prospecting? 1, to build familiarity. 2, to gather intel. And 3, to set an appointment. The purpose of prospecting is not to close the realtor, the buyer, whatever your prospect is. Another, you'll also hear me talk about in this group as we continue, a plethora of other referral sources besides realtors. But realtors are usually what we focus on. So yeah, that's the purpose of prospecting, is to do these 3 things. It's not to close them on the phone, right? It's not to go get that coffee date and close them on the coffee date if you haven't built appropriate trust and it's not at that step in the sequence.
The bad news about something like that might seem, hey, you know what? Geez, I'm just gathering intel, I'm building familiarity. Oh, I need to close deals and make money right away. I can promise you this is the shortcut to the shortcut for the long-term success of your business. So you still have to go through this. And I'm not saying don't supplement with other things that are quick action leads or things like you're going to do some of that stuff now. But this is when it comes to the difference between what's, they say what's urgent and what's more important. This is definitely more important stuff. So be willing to take that. Now, the last thing though, is that the neat thing about those prospecting activities, no, it's not necessarily the sales, but when you can monitor your progress, your lead measure activity, right, of what you're doing every day, that's the stuff that you can actually start to get that little bit of squirt of dopamine. You can, when you measure the activity and not the results, then you're not going to feel like you're failing every day when you don't have a deal that just kind of the prospecting gods have bestowed upon you because you did some activity for a couple hours. So being able to measure some of that stuff in there and knowing that keeping an eye on your activity more than your results is going to serve you well as you go through some of this. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Rocco. I actually just made a note because a lot of people, I know that quadrant you're talking about, we'll talk about that in the group. You guys are going to get, I'm so happy. You're going to get so much value over the next few days and in the future. So anyway, manual funnels that we're going to talk about briefly. So the first step is an awareness. The next step is, so awareness is, hey, you know who I am, whereas you didn't know who I am, right? And the beautiful thing about the manual funnel is, whether the realtor knows you or not, right? So just like I talked about, you dump all those realtors in your CRM and start emailing them every week or every other day, right? That does not take into account whether the realtor knows who you are or doesn't know who you are. So it has no idea where you are in the steps, right?
So, and that's what these manual funnel, all this is, these are terms that we've put together here for this is, everybody that you have in your marketable universe, whether they know who you are yet or not, is basically at some stage of a relationship with you. They either know who you are or they don't know who you are. If they don't know who you are, they're going to sit in this awareness phase. You want to try and get them to be aware of who you are. Once you have people that they become aware of who you are, the next thing when it comes to enrichment, it's about building a relationship with them. This is a syntax, gang. A syntax is steps that you go through. You do not want to do these things out of order, because if you do them out of order is where you go off the rails and you will not get the results that you're looking for. So when you are trying to build a relationship with somebody in the enrichment phase, they better at least know your name first, right? And just as much as that, and you all have people in your, and then I'd love to have people do their little emojis or one or some kind of comment in the chat box that I can't see now, because how many of you have how many of you can say this? You have contacts in your phone now, your social media connections, that people are aware of who you are. The average person has about 2,000 people that they're connected to, whether it's through social media, a couple hundred phone numbers. And it doesn't matter if they're on your innermost circle or on your outer layers. They know who you are, right? How many of you have a way of consistently staying in front of those contacts on a regular basis, sharing the story about what it is that you do every day to help people with your business? How many of you do that on a regular basis? That's what enrichment is about. And I contend with anybody that if you just focused on the marketable universe that you have now, and you say to yourself, I'm going to get myself in front of them, you'd have all the business you ever wanted. But what happens is, Elysia, and I'm going on my soapbox for a minute here, I hope you don't mind.
Please.
What happens is that we've been out of touch with those people. I've been connected to that realtor on LinkedIn for 5 years, but I never stayed engaged with them. I never built a relationship with them. So it seems weird and salesy if I go and do that now. Well, don't work on the next part of credibility or motivate, which I'll explain in a second. Work on reestablishing a relationship with them. That's the syntax. All you need to do is work on starting to build a relationship. We're going to teach you how to do that, right? Alicia's the best in the world at it. So just stay tuned for that, right? But what happens is that after you start to establish a relationship and a connection with somebody again, only then does it make sense to start actually establishing credibility, meaning Elysia could be a great friend of mine and we have a good, strong relationship, but I might not think she's a credible business person, right? So I might not be ready to have her be my personal mortgage advisor, right? She needs to establish credibility with me. We're going to teach you how to do that, whether you're new or if you've been in the business for 20 years. And then after you've established credibility, then you get to that very last step, which is motivate, moving somebody to a call to action. You've earned it at that point. You totally violate the entire process if you jump from awareness to motivate, and it will kill you. But if you've taken the time to get somebody to know your name, and then you build a relationship with them, and then you establish that you're a credible person to do business with, when you go to ask them for the business, for the referral or whatever you need from them to advance your business, you've earned the right to do that. If you do these out of order or you try and skip steps, thumbs down, all right? No bueno. So anyway, that's what these manual funnels are about. Like, it's the idea of moving them through. And the last thing I'll say about Elysia, and then you take over for a couple minutes here, but when people get moved into, you got to understand, when you start working with a contact, some of them you might be able to start within that credibility stage. Like, you can skip the first 2 steps. My sister is very aware of who I am. You know, I also have a great relationship with her. So I can just go right to that next step, but she might think I'm a crappy business person. So I need to work on that component of it. And all we're talking about is when you start learning how to prospect, you're going to take a handful of people every day, and you're going to say, in which one of those 4 steps am I at with this particular contact? And then I'm going to come up with a simple workflow strategy to try and move them from one step to the next. And we're going to teach you how to do all that.
Absolutely. And, you know, I mentioned if you hound that realtor, right? You call them. They finally agree to have coffee with you. And then they're like, yeah, we'll do business. And then they totally ghost you. The reason that happens is because you went from awareness right to asking for the business. So you skipped enrichment, credibility, and motivation. And that's key. And when you don't do the steps in the order, not only do you not get results from that relationship, but you've also wasted your time, right? And we're going to teach you how to do it correctly. So
yeah, it does more harm than good.
It does more harm than good. It's still repairable, right? But you're going to have to do something different. All right. So you guys know, or may not know, I'm Tony Robbins, senior leader. And, you know, Tony loves to say, if you're not getting the results you want, change your approach. Right. Yeah. This approach is tried and proven to work. So I'll let Rocco talk about the levers of influence.
Yeah. And look, and this is all stuff that, like, you know, again, you all don't know me. I'm not a mortgage master. I've been in the world of prospecting and sales for over 2 decades and that sort of thing. But, you know, the credibility with what Elysia's done, the other thing that Tony would say, or any other any other smart person would be like, hey, it's okay to be a copycat. Just make sure that you're copying the right cat. And what Elysia has put together in here for you is going to be a way for you to duplicate the results that she's gotten, and we're still putting your own personal touch on it. And that's kind of going back to authenticity and authentic sharing. But let's talk about these levers of influence real quick. Okay, so when I am working with somebody who is in the awareness stage, that's a contact who does not know who I am yet, the way that I can get them to become aware of me in the way that I would like them to is I need to be authentic in my communication, and I need to be able to engage them with topics that are relevant and relatable to their world, things that are important to them, not necessarily to me. And you might be thinking to yourself, there's nothing new about that. And I get it, but that's not what most people do when they go to engage with somebody new. Now, to be able to work with these levers of influence, when we say levers of influence, there are certain mental shortcuts. They call them heuristics. It's some scientific stuff you can go look up and study. Maybe some of you have been there. But we think as human beings that we're really in control of a lot of what our behaviors are about. And they're not. And more than we think. We actually have what are mental reflexes, where we have snap judgments and we make quick decisions the way information is presented to us. And that's because we need to preserve our mental energy. So we try and pawn things off to our subconscious mind as much as we can to make quick decisions for us. And so very often, if somebody comes at you the wrong way, you have a gut feeling, you said, that's icky. I don't want to talk to that person. Or, nah, they look like they just rolled out of bed today when they approached me. Or, you know what? They're automating me. I can tell that. And that's what Elysia was talking about, your CRM. I'm just going to set it and forget it. Well, guess what, gang? If you think that digital marketing is going to fix your problem 100% of the way, you are entirely misreading the way things happen. Because the truth of the matter is your customers, and I talk about authenticity, I'm not saying don't use digital relationships. We're going to teach you how to do that. But when you do it authentically, that person is going to give you a better response rate than you thinking you're the person in the back of the room who says, set it and forget it. What I mean by that is before the day ends today, and I've repeated this over and over again to thousands of people in different trainings like this, the world, the way that it works today, you are all going to be exposed to about 5,000 marketing impressions before the day ends today. All of us, right? Every single one of us. And it comes through billboards, banner ads, internet, TV commercials, you name it, right? Business cards thrown at you. The reality is, as human beings, we've become extremely good at filtering out about 99.9% of that content because it's overwhelming to us and we know we're being mass marketed to. Remember this phrase, one to many, right? One to many. So if you're brand new, I'm giving you some inside information that you have to contend with. And I don't want you to feel uncomfortable and run away because you're in a great business, but you just don't have to contend with reality. And what I'm telling you is that the very same realtor that you're trying to reach out to and get your little message in there so they know who you are, you're competing with Coca-Cola, Facebook, you name it, all these other massive organizations that are spending billions of dollars to compete for just a few seconds of your prospect's attention. Well, how do you overcome that? And if you are authentic in your communication, you are going to win more times than you lose. I can guarantee it with you. So if you were to send out a message to a realtor and say something, hey, I am reaching out, you don't know who I am, but I have some news on the real estate industry that I think will be quite valuable to you. And oh, by the way, I am reaching out to you like this is not a bot. This is me reaching out very authentically. I'm not hiding behind automations. I've done a little bit of due diligence and I've looked at your profile and I understand the type of business, those types of messages where somebody can prove that they're authentic to me, that's who I respond to. And I think that you'd be lying to me if you tell me that, no, you ignore them, the same thing as if you just get some random blah ad pushed to you out or something of that nature to work. So when we're talking about that stage of awareness, we're going to teach you how to use digital means to show up, to show up in a digital environment, but be authentic at the same time and be there with relevant information. Okay. So that's that lever of influence. And I spent a little bit of time there, but very often people are like, man, I can tell you, you don't need to spend too much time on that awareness thing. If if you have this, like, I don't want to go to my marketable universe that I already know because I'm going to mess all that up. No, You can go to awareness if you want, but I'm telling you, you can live in that enrichment phase. You know, probably half of those 2,000 people that you're connected to bought a house from a realtor. You know how easy you can go to that person and ask them to make that introduction for you on your behalf? Oh, that's weird. That's yicky. They don't, I don't really talk to them about that. I don't talk to them about my business and their warm relationship. Look, the idea, or I just been hands off. I haven't really marketed that. Or I tried marketing to them before and I didn't do it the right way, right? All those things. So we're going to teach you how to be able to reestablish relationships and build stronger relationships with people that you need to connect with. And you're like, oh, what's a lever of influence there? Compliment somebody? Yeah, it works. You know that if you have two people that are sitting next to you and they're identical twins, but the first one pays you a compliment first, and that's the only thing that you can use to differentiate them. If I was to ask you to choose which one that you like better, we like people who like us. If you demonstrate that you like somebody else, there's more of a chance that they're going to like you back. So that's how we build a relationship. And then we go and we start adding value. We make their world better. Okay. So we'll talk about that in a little bit further, but those levers of influence, again, these are what's going to allow people to take the mental shortcuts that they're going to be able to strengthen up that relationship with you. Now we take the next step. Now I've got to get to a spot. And if you want to, I guess we go to jump to the next slide, Elysia, there, where we could start talking about the credibility component. Great. I've got this person, they're paying attention to me. I've built this relationship with them, but they still think I'm a bozo when it comes to my business, right? Or they don't give me much respect in what I do. Well, here's how we overcome that. We overcome that with content and messaging that talks about social proof and authority, right? Now, imagine being able to have that stuff copywritten for you and pre-written, so it's from you to that person that gives that social proof and authority. And you're saying to myself, geez, well, I don't have a bunch of written testimonials from clients for social proof. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a whole different kind of social proof. I'm talking about people have a tendency when they lack information on something, a topic where they don't feel confident on, they have a tendency to do what the masses are doing and how they respond to a situation. So let me put it in context for you. You're on a street corner, there's a restaurant on one side, and there's a restaurant on the other side. One restaurant has, a line going out the door. Another restaurant, there's no line. You can walk right in, all right? What are you going to make the assumption of? You're going to make the assumption that what the masses are doing is where I go to eat. And guess what? You have the ability to latch on in other ways. We're going to show you some resources that you can share with prospects that talks about, hey, people that have taken out mortgages, the vast majority of people have been disappointed with their loan app. According to J.D. Power and Associates, right, Elysia, that's one of our main resources. We have 72% of people who took out loan applications a couple of years ago were disappointed with the loan process. And, and you having the ability to point it out, you lump that in the social proof. When you go to a realtor, you build a relationship, and you can honestly say to them, do you know that 7 out of the 10 people that you've probably referred to somebody else, that they were disappointed in their experience, right? That's social proof. And when it comes to authority, we've got third-party resources that it doesn't have to be from you. You can branch on to authority. Like I can talk about quotes from Warren Buffett if I'm in the financial industry. And guess what? I am now connected to his authority when I use that information. I'm not copyrighting or stealing any of that stuff. I could say to Elysia, hey, do you know what Warren Buffett said about blue chip investing? Right. So you're like, wow, he's got some authorities. She's kind of associating me with Warren Buffett. And that's what we're going to teach you how to do the right way. And we've got resources there that you can put in front of people that's going to give you that credibility that you need. So then you can get to the last step and motivate them to call to action. And I won't spend a lot of time on these because I know we're already going to start going short on it, Elysia, but solution alignment is where we put that magic resource in place, the survey, right? Like we're going to teach you how to gather the appropriate intel, not just on the demographics of your client, but the psychographics, the things that look, it's one thing to help people with what they need. I want to help people with what they want, right? Because they will take action on that. And we're going to show you a very neat way how to get in somebody's mind, hijack their brain for a couple of minutes and direct their attention on what you want them to focus on and have them give up themselves on like, yeah, this is interesting. And once you have that information, we're going to teach you how to go back to that person and say, hey, you know what, Elysia, based on what you said here, based on what you said, not what I think that you need. These are words that came out of your mouth, what you've actually put down on paper here. We got to meet because we have some business to do together. When can we do it? You know, and she's going to go along with it because that lever of influence is there for her, right? And we'll teach about the last one, scarcity, when we get to some of that stuff. But this is how we make this happen. And the reason why it's manual is because I don't want you to ever make the assumption that if you have 200 people that they're all going to go through these steps at the same pace. We are all individuals. We're different human beings. So when you have the guru person telling you, put them in my ClickFunnels pages and they're just going to go through and, you know, and it's going to be, you know, that's violating those principles because somebody that has a personality that they're a little bit more of a logical person, they go slower in their decisions, you might have to spend a little bit more time with them in the credibility phase, right? People like the, you know, are also on the flip side, those people that are shy and it takes time to build a relationship with them versus somebody who's gregarious and they just move with it through. So anyway, I'm gonna bump off that, but this is all stuff that you're gonna learn about at a pretty high level. And when you start to internalize it, it just becomes a rhythm of what you do every day in your prospecting activities. If I'm with somebody who I'm trying to build credibility with, I got to get them to the motivating stage. All right.
Absolutely. So what we've just talked about is actually, hang on, I'm stuck. Sorry. What we just talked about is the strategy that actually is the basis for everything that we're talking about. So let me see if I can get over here and put that back. There we go. Nope, doesn't want to move. Okay, hang on. Sorry, guys.
Slides are stuck.
Yeah, the slides are stuck. Darn Google. Hang on.
I could keep going all day while you're waiting.
There we go. Okay, so we just covered one part of the strategy. And can you guys see the screen now or no?
No, you need to reshare.
All right, hang on. Darn Zoom. And, all right, here we go. Try that.
There we go.
Thanks, guys. So the other parts are all the tools and the systems. So to have an effective prospecting strategy, you typically need all of these things. CRM and a developer to make changes, right? So it's exactly how you want it. A way to track engagement. Maybe that's on a spreadsheet. Maybe you have an open rate. But what tracks the replies, whether that's text or email, that's super high tech, very complicated. And you better remember what you shared and maybe talked about. Your contact created in your phone with all your links, digital business cards, sales funnel software, funnel builder to make your funnels for you, business cards, and the list can go on and on. But what if there was a way to do all of this without any of those things piled on one by one by one? What it was all available to you in the palm of your hand, and you could semi-automate it with proven scripts and templates. Well, there is, and there's only one way to get it, and that's inside of the Mortgage Marketing Master app. And we're gonna have Rocco. Are you able to share just a little bit with the?
Yeah, you'll have to maybe let me stop sharing real quick and I'll frame this and I'll get this up here first to take a look at why I'm doing that, because I think that it's important to note that, you know, like what we just talked about there on some of that training, what I'm going to show you all here over the next couple of minutes, you can still execute on all of these ideas that we're talking about without using this tool. But what we have done, what Elysia's done is when I said before about copying the right cat, she's built this thing so you can do just that. And you'll have to make me a meeting host, Elysia. So what will happen here is as I go through some of this, again, I know there's tools out there. Maybe people have things that you're using there. This is like something that you've never had. This is what we call authentic sharing technology. This is the formula, the way that's going to allow you to grease the skids and do everything else that we're going to teach you, especially as you go through this boot camp with us. It's going to allow you to do it more efficiently and more effectively. And here's why, right? Because we are going to get in the amount of the words, the content, everything that would be as almost if it was coming from Elysia to you, the quality of the content is going to be better. And also your exposures, the quantity, the number of people that you talk to, you're going to wind up getting the message out there to more people. And you're going to still all do this in an authentic way. So anyway, let me get to some of this here so we can jump in. There we go. All right. So really quick, what I want to focus on is just a handful of key things here for you all today, because for those that are taking the challenge, part of the challenge is going to have you execute on some of that strategy that I just talked about there. And it's going to give you the chance every day to learn more and more about what we were talking about, those levers of influence, manual funnels, all of that stuff. And then it's going to be like, okay, well, now let's go ahead and use this a little bit here in the app. And it walks you through how to do all this. So I don't want to go through here of like feature dump on you all. Okay, that's not what this is about. What I want you to understand is how this companion, this little business building machine in the palm of your hand, is all that you will need to be able to, again, like I said in the beginning, have a pipeline that's chasing you around in 90 days from now instead of the other way around, right? So when you go in for the first time, there's going to be some instructions there that are going to walk you through some basics about how to get started. But what I want you to know here is, as we kind of look through some of this, is if I tap the more button down in the lower right-hand corner, you're going to see here where there's this coaching section here in the app, the little graduation cap. And when you click on it, right at the very top, there's content in here that's going to walk you through the 15-day challenge. Now, I'm going to demo some other things in here for you to see, but essentially, there's 15 days here worth of content for you to go through, and that's basically going to have you get into the rhythm of doing some of those prospecting activities that we talked about before and integrating a lot of the strategy there. But it's not just coaching that you're getting here. This is actually the tool that's going to allow you also to do what the coaching is telling you. So, Elysia, I just wanted to show that first before we kind of get into the heart of some of this stuff. And the last thing, and you'll see all this later on as well, when I tap this resources tab up here in the right-hand corner, most of the content in the resource section is customer-facing, prospect-facing content. You see here where it has awareness, enrichment, credibility, motivate. We're going to poke around and look at some of that stuff here in a second. But I want you to know that there's also companion documents where it says 15-day prospecting bootcamp, where you can actually go in, and for each one of those videos, you can pop open just by clicking on one of these. If you know, there's a companion doc that matches up to the training videos that Elysia and I have put together, right? But that's where we start at on it. And again, we're going to learn a whole bunch more from there. Why don't we just get into some of the basics? When you go in here, you're going to learn how to set up things so you have your own pages are already built for you, pages that are going to display content. You're going to learn how to share content out of the app with prospects that come directly from you to that prospect, whether it's a video page, PDF documents, resources, things of that nature, which we're going to show you. But ultimately, that information, when you send it out, you're going to have multiple channels to be able to send it to, and everything is going to be tracked for you. So you're going to know which of your prospects are winding up engaging with the stuff that you have in there. And ultimately, what you see here on the dashboard, even though it's irrelevant now, this is all stuff that's going to allow you to keep score on yourself and hold yourself accountable, which is one of the most important parts. As you go through the mindset training that Elysia is going to give you, you'll see what all of that is about there, okay? But we'll do things like you'll learn how to enter contacts in. You can bring contacts in directly as importing them from your device on your phone all at once. You can tap on a few at a time. You can enter people manually. You can do a CSV file or that sort of thing. But again, I don't want people to think that like this is like technology that's going to overwhelm you. This stuff is so simple. If I had Elysia loaded up as a contact of mine in the app, where do you want me to start at from here, Elysia? Do you want me to start with opening up the business card and sharing something there?
I would show them the business card and then maybe the survey, the JD Power survey.
Perfect. Yeah. So under the awareness section, for example, if I click on that for a second, right, we have some ways to open up conversations. Let's just say that and again, awareness is somebody who doesn't know who we are yet. And if we have a potential realtor that we want to reach out and touch base with, you can send a message over, something like this. I could say, a pre-written message is already loaded. Hey, I'm just reaching out to introduce myself without hiding behind a marketing automation because I believe in the lost art of real connections. I'd like to get to know you a bit, exchange some business ideas. And it goes on to ask them, hey, would it be okay if I was to send you over my digital business card. Now, how we push out messages like this to a contact, we just simply click the button there, and then down the bottom it says, well, do you want to email it? Do you want to text it to them? Or do you want to maybe send it as a DM on social media, on Messenger or LinkedIn Messenger or something like that? Okay. So you walk through these steps. And again, you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to do all this today, because the bootcamp challenge is going to show you how to do this. And for those out there that are not going to, if you try and white knuckle it a bit on your own, you could still be able to use some of the information that you're going to get trained on to do it manually. But at the very top of this app sits your own digital business card. It's one of the best conversation starters that you'll ever have. And if I was to pop this open, you can actually see, I don't even know, this is just a preview of what's loaded in here. I could actually text this over to Elysia right now, and it has in here all my social media buttons. It has a booking link for me. It has a nice resource there that you could click on to learn about things, and all my contact information. Again, this is so cool, because when you have something like this, again, there's a pre-written message. Hey, here's my digital business card. All Elysia needs to do is hit this save contact button here, and it imports all of that information into her device and saves it. She doesn't have to type anything, misspell email addresses, got a weird name like mine or any of that sort of stuff, right? And ultimately, what it allows you to do is have conversations start. You could even send it out to somebody. Hey, I've updated my contact information now on a digital business card. I want to send it over to you. Now you have a way to start building a relationship with people that have been dormant, right? The neat thing is when you are sharing resources from the app to a contact outside of the app, like that digital business card, or if it's a PDF document, a video pages, any of the other little things that are already built in here and loaded for you, when your prospect clicks on what you send, the app sends you a push notification back that lets you know that they're engaging with the content that you're sending them. That's how you know if you're winning or losing. And it's what's ultimately going to show up on that dashboard, your real prospecting activities, lead measure stuff, not the results. And it's going to allow you to be able to know what to go and do with those folks next. And we'll show you the contacts, what they look like in here, and how you manage contacts in a moment. But the other thing that we want to do is just let you know, if I go down to some of these other tools that are in here, maybe we'll go down to credibility. Is this a good resource for us? So if we went down to realtors.
And we made it super simple. We've like broken out the categories: client prospects, existing clients, realtors, realtor prospects.
And the app trains you. It's like, look, here's what it is when it comes to like something that's under social proof. When people feel uncertain about a decision or topic, they look to the actions and opinions of the masses and accept those actions and opinions as correct. So send this message and resource to a contact who might not be certain they need some help from you, right? So, okay, well, let's take a look at what this resource is all about here. Let's go ahead and pop it open so we could see here. I'll put it in my clipboard. I'm not going to really send this to my poor wife. Elysia gets these from me regularly.
All day long.
All right. So this is what would happen. 72% of consumers feel disappointed and have regrets about working with their mortgage lender. Why would a realtor need to know this information? Because they're referring other people out right now, and they probably don't even realize the danger of doing that, because guess who it's a reflection of? Them. The realtor gets blamed just like you all get blamed, right? If something goes wrong for me and I'm in a transaction, I'm blaming everybody else besides myself, right? Yeah. And so that realtor, and you want to help this, but look, prevent yourself from that happening. And then all these pages are pre-built for you. So they're personalized to you. All your buttons are on there. It's a really professional way people can reach out and engage with you. And that's how something like that would work. And again, it's all tracked on a scorecard for you. One of the last things that we have to talk about here, Elysia, and then we'll just show two other things, is the solution alignment with the survey, right?
Excellent. I love that.
And so look, we established a relationship. We're giving them some social proof. We've claimed some authority. Now we want to try and move them to a call to action with us. So let's get some solution alignment done. And one of the things that you'll be able to do with that, and this is one of the secret sauces that we put together, is you're going to be able to send out a message to a realtor saying, hey, I'm doing some market research on how realtors like to be worked with when it comes to their lending partners that they work with. Would you do me a favor and fill out a quick survey for me for a minute? And what happens is they go through in here these questions. I'm going to let Elysia go through these questions one at a time. There's only a handful of them, and the value of why they're there and how they're written. But let me just tell you guys the power of this real quick, and then shows over to you, to Elysia, to go through the questions. We talked before about when you are prospecting, one of the purposes is to gather intel. This is one of the best ways that you can gather intel, is getting this information back from them. The other thing that's powerful about this, the questions, and as Alicia's going to go through them, questions direct the mind. When I ask you a question, I hijack your brain for just a moment to start thinking about something I want you to think about that maybe you haven't contemplated before. But when I ask you that question, it's bringing it to light for me. So maybe they weren't thinking about some of this stuff here, like how important it is. What should I have different expectations from the loan officers I'm referring now? You're directing their mind. That's really important, right? And that's one of those levers of influence. Now, the third component of this, which to me is the most powerful, what winds up happening is if I sent this to a realtor and once they fill this out, not only have I gotten them to think about things, not only have I gathered intel, but now I'm going to use that intel. Again, I'm going to put these words back in their mouth to get the appointment. Because when they fill out this for me and it asks them in there, hey, Elysia, you said that you actually, yes, that you might have, you really like when deals are in progress that somebody should inform you, and I'll let you go through the questions here. But the point is, based on you answering it that way, Elysia, you need to meet with me because that's who I am. That's how I serve my realtor partners that I do business with. And she almost can't, look, even if she changed her mind after the fact, we do more. We value in our society, and most civilizations do, that we value more in keeping consistent with our words than how we really feel. So even if they change their mind after the fact, they're like, you know what? I said that, you know what? I've got to honor what I said. I'm going to go and have this meeting. All right. So Elysia, you can go through these questions, but this survey, and by the way, when they fill this survey out, not only do you get a push notify when they click on it, but when they fill it out, all the results populate into the contact manager section, which we'll show off here in a minute before we dive into the challenge and wrap up. But that is the one of the best things. You have all the information and intel right in front of you there to proceed to the next step, which is to motivate that call to action. Elysia, I'll scroll through these questions here for you.
Yeah, I love them. So first of all, this survey teaches you how to treat people as they want to be treated, right? Everybody's heard of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have done unto you. The platinum rule is do unto others as they would like to be done unto, right? And this is it. And we had a question from James. Ozzy, yeah, we will put a link to the app. But James asked, are these questions going out as a text message? You can send it any way you like. That's what I love about the app. You can text it right out of your phone as a direct message. And that way you will be able to see.
But let's be clear. I think, so just so he knows, there's a link that's embedded with a pre-written message. It says, hey, take this 1 minute. So the previous message says, hey, Elysia, would you take this survey to me? She says, sure. And I send her back over, here's the survey. She clicks on the link and it opens up this page and they just go through and they take it. And down the bottom, their information would already be pre-populated in here. They just hit the submit button and you get your results. So sharing it, the channel that you share it in, whether it's text, email or social media, that's entirely up to you. Can do smoke signals if you want. We have that option, don't we?
Yes, and it's up to you how you want to send it. So you can message it, you can email it, you can text it, you can send it via social media message. The other thing, this is also great to put in a group. Like if you have a group of realtors and you want to, you've added value to the group, right? You just don't go throw this into the group, but you've added value, you've put some information that's positive. Like we talked about the different levers, that's when you put this survey in a group, and that's one-to-many, and it's super powerful. But all these questions that I worked on, I challenge some of you, if you even know any of this about your realtor partners right now. And if you don't, you need to, right? But basically, if you scroll to the top, Rocco, it's basically 4 or 5 simple questions. 1, do you have a lender you're actively sending your referrals to, right? If this is a realtor partner and they say yes, and it's actually not you, isn't that something you want to know, right? You better change something right now. In your opinion, what's the most important aspect of a strong partnership with your lender? They provide frequent updates on deals in process, right? To me, that's the base. But I've also had realtors that they don't care about that. They're like, don't tell me until if there's not a problem, I'll just see you at closing. I don't want to deal with it. I'm on to the next deal, right? Okay. Then some want to know everything. Another choice, they share co-marketing opportunities with you. They refer clients to you. They close all the deals you send them. That's pretty important, right? And then what if you do have those co-marketing deals and you're not working with this realtor? They've told you what they want. If you have it, now you have the opening, just like Rocco said. You said sharing co-marketing ideas was important. I have some I would love to share with you. Okay. Given the choice, what would be your optimal form of receiving communication from your lender? Do you guys, have you even ever asked your realtors that? I mean, you can usually tell from whether they text or call you, right? But you can ask them. It's a sign of respect.
It sure is. You know, I mean, the ability and your level of professionalism goes up tenfold just by asking a few questions like this. It's like, wow, this person's really, and remember, you didn't just jump to this, right? You went through the manual. This is not till motivate. This is until step number 4. So they already like you as a person, or you didn't get this far. Now they're like, wow, this person, not only do I like them, not only are they credible and you know they know what they're doing, but they're also handle their business professionally. Nobody's ever taken the time to learn this about me.
And how many realtors do you go have coffee with and don't even ask these questions in person, and then you want to know why they don't send you any deals? You didn't genuinely take time to follow the steps, build the relationship, and connect with them. So what's your desired, there's another question. What's your desired level of follow-up from your lender? I want to know everything, just key milestone events, or tell me when we close, right? And again, these are actually just 4 or 5 questions, and they're going to check one or more, right? And one last but not least, which of the following best describes your relationship with your last or current lender? I love them. They're okay. Or we're breaking up. I'm looking for a new lender, right? Then they're going to put their info in there. Now, if they're already in your contacts in the app, their info will be populated. They don't have to do it. But also, if it's not somebody that you already have their contact info and you posted it in a social media in the environment that made sense after you built trust and use those levers of influence, what a great lead gen tool for for new realtors, right? They've just told you how they want to be treated and how you can work with them.
There's a lot in here that we will not get into today. I want to preface that. Part of what this challenge is about, and I'll just jump over to contacts. We'll look at some of these people here, and you talk about a few other things before we wrap up, Elysia. But if anybody's taking notes, I want you to write this down. This is probably the most important thing that I think that you might hear today. The worst time to have to think of what to say and do is in the moment that you have to say and do it, right? And when it comes to this boot camp, this app and all this training, everything else that we put together for you, it's designed so when you sit down to carve out whether it's the 5 minutes, the 15 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, that you don't have to waste that energy on stuff that's not related to the doing part, right? You know, people will just sending out a text message, a cold text message to a realtor, for example. People will spend an hour trying to come up with 2 or 3 sentences to try and introduce themselves, literally, and that's it, right? When copying the right cat, like Elysia, she's giving you the words. They're coming from you to them, but you're using her words. You don't have to think about that component of it. Now, the good news is that you have the ability to adjust the messages. There's nothing that's hardwired in here that you can't edit and put your own personal touch on. But the systems, the steps, the stages, and the words, the content and messaging, it's already there for you, right? So you don't have to overthink some of this stuff. You know, these are just test contacts in here, but when you go into a contact, you have the ability to manage so many different things about them, make notes, set reminders. You can check content that they're checking out for you. And it's all very easy. And I want you to know the challenge, again, it's not only going to force you to do prospecting activities, but it's going to show you how to navigate around this stuff a little bit. So you can really get to the end result of what you want to, which is more booked appointments and more business. And again, you're going to learn here, we got a contest in here. It's going to, we're going to reward those that are actually prospecting and getting activity done with realtors. You can, win some private time with some coaching there, additional coaching that you'll get even different than what you're already getting. That's exclusively for people in this group. And you'll learn all that. So I don't want you to get overwhelmed on this. Oh my God, I got other tools. I do this thing now. I don't know technology. I have too much of that. I don't care about any of that. I want to focus on you becoming a master prospector. And I know how to help you do that. And you've got the very first person in your industry that's there riding shotgun with you to do it. So just, kind of accept this challenge and jump into it. And the best part is the challenge is, you might be thinking, well, we're going to charge you lots of money for this challenge. And Elysia, you can talk about the economics, but we want to deliver value here and show you this. And then we're going to get you off of the training wheels, and then your business is going to run, into perpetuity at that point.
Sweet. Can I switch it over to the Thorndike experiment?
Oh yeah, that's probably one of my favorites. So you can take the screen share. Let me stop here.
There we go. I got you.
Yeah, it's a lot of words here, right? This one, so just, I can sum it up in 2 minutes and you could joke about it here, but this is what you're about to go through, right? The bottom line with this is that, and this is going back in, the late 1800s, early 1900s, where this guy was studying human behavior. This is something I geek out and nerd on a lot, is like human behavior, psychology. It really interests me a lot. But there was this experiment done where he would take these cats and he'd put them in these, they called them puzzle boxes. And the cats are kind of like mazes, levers, trinkets, and they wanted to get out of this darn box, these cats, and they had to figure out the steps to do it because there was food waiting on the other end, right? If they could get out, they could get to the food. And so what's winding up happening in a scenario is that you put the cat in, the first couple of times it was taking them, on average, a minute and a half to get out. Look down the last bullet point down there. But the same cat, and it took them about 30 times, right? So in 28, 29, and 30, in the last 3 trials, the averages escape decreased to an average of 6.3 seconds, 1.5 minutes down to 6.3 seconds. That's what you're all about to step into with this challenge, this app, and your prospect, where you're at. So I don't want you to get frustrated in the beginning if it takes you a little bit longer to get to the food on day 1, day 2, right? The point is, if you follow the steps that Elysia laid out for you in this challenge and you keep showing up for this thing, when you get to the other end, the same things that would have taken you a minute and a half on day 1 are going to take you about 6.3 seconds later on. And that's the efficiency part of this. So quality and quantity is what you're getting out of this, but you need to just stick with the experiment. And that's my last take on any of my soapbox stuff here today.
That's great. Thanks, Rocco. So before we get into the details of the challenge, we're going to talk about what you get with the app. Okay. So first of all, you have the dashboard, which Rocco showed you. You can track which of your prospects, contacts are hot or not hot. You actually can make them hotter if they are, or you can make them less if they're not. There's a huge resource library, both written and on video and videos. There's presentations, there's slideshows. We put together so much content in this app. It's unbelievable. As Rocco showed you, there's the pre-written text campaigns. And then we also have those emails separately. There's pre-structured prospecting sequences we talked about. There's a hot list. There's an activity log, right? So you can actually see what you're doing. Once you start working in the app for a few minutes every day, you will see what you need to keep doing or do more of, do less of, do something different. It gives you the feedback that you need to make a change so you can adjust to be the most successful you can be. You get the digital business card. That alone is a huge value. We're putting in the Crushing Limiting Beliefs for Loan Officers course. We also have monthly office hours with live coaching with both Rocco and myself. We have the pre-written surveys. We only showed you one survey. There are other surveys. Pre-written opt-in pages for referrals. So basically have the power of mass marketing, like a big box mortgage companies, in the palm of your hand. You're in control. And so many more amazing tools that you guys get to discover once you're in. So I'm actually, if you guys have any questions, I can read them in the Facebook group. Let's just ask those real quick. I see a few people had some other questions. So before we jump in, I did put the link to the app there. So if you guys have any questions, it's loanofficerreferralsecrets.com, and it's I posted it there. Okay, no questions. So what I want to share with you is the opportunity for the boot camp. So first of all, we're going to coach you every single day in this group and in the app. So if you don't want to get the app, you still don't have to. We're still going to give you prospecting tips and tools every day for 15 days. And first, we're going to start with mindset. So we're going to start tomorrow with 5 days of mindset, and January couldn't be a better time. We're also going to talk about a couple of different technical things. We're going to talk about the urgent versus relevant, and what actually sales funnels are comprised of. If anybody knows how many people are in the market to buy your product right now on average at any given time, right now. Does anybody even know those numbers? It's 3%. The other 97%, you got to put them in a funnel. That's your clients, that's your realtors, that's your strategic referral partners. Those are the stats, those are the facts. General industry stats for sales and sales funnels. So why do I mention it? Because again, it's January. It's time to get focused, get motivated, and get going. And that's what Rocco and I are here to do, is support you in that endeavor. So by the time second quarter comes around, you guys are crushing it. And if you work in this app day in and day out, or even just Monday through Friday, just 5 days, right? Just 5 out of 7. It's going to take a little more time to get started. You know, I'm always perfectly transparent and upfront. So to get started, you're probably going to need like an hour and a half. Not on the mindset 5 days, but the first 5 days of the 15. You get 20 days total. And we're going to base it in this group. So again, you get the app. That's what I would do, because it's the easy button. All the sequences are written. Eric Shaw says, does this take the place of a website, or does it integrate with my CRM? It is not a CRM. It has qualities of a CRM, but it is before your CRM. I think, Eric, if you were on from the beginning, maybe not, we actually talked about the last thing you want to do is dump 20, 100, 3,000 realtors in your CRM and hope that works. This is all about building authentic relationships.
Yeah, and just I give a quick comment on that, is that what this app is designed to do, Eric, I think his name was, usually what happens is most contacts don't make their way into a CRM, at least for any useful measure, unless it's just they become clutter, until they reach a certain level of qualification. Usually a CRM is not effective, and in every industry, everybody's got different levels of qualification. But what happens above that line is where most of the important lead measure prospecting activities come in place. And what happens for most people is that's wild, wild west. Like, I wake up today, I'm going to try and go to the networking group. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to Facebook. I'm going to do this, or I got some ads running somewhere, whatever I'm doing. And what this app does is it sits on top all of that and organizes your day in a structured way. So you'll be able to manage those activities, and you won't have to, again, think about it in the moment that you actually have to do it. When it comes to integration, yeah, you could pass information off from our app into a CRM. It's an API connection. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do if you don't own the CRM access, but it's something that we can do. It's not all that necessary. I want this to be what happens at the top of that stuff. This is where you're harvesting, right? From one to the next. And they should be separate, in my opinion. But when it comes to your question about website, you have the ability to load pixels in here and put in things like that if you have, if you're running ads and that sort of thing, because we give you landing pages. There's a lot of different ones that are pre-built in here. When you go through your settings and you set up everything, they're all personalized to you and that sort of thing. So when you say a website, it just depends. Some people have a different vision of what their website looks like for them and what it's doing for them. This is ground and pound solopreneur, like me, getting the brand of me out there into the world and communicating outbound with people. This app was built for outbound prospectors whose most pressing need is to build relationships with people. It's not a a strategy or a tool that's just like, I'm going to run a bunch of ads somewhere and it's all inbound traffic and then I'm coordinating from there. This is not what this tool was built for anything like that.
Thanks, Rocco. So we've designed it so you get all this value. I mean, just there's tens of thousands of dollars of value in it. If you look at to design a funnel, if you look at the office hours, if you look at all the courses that are already in there, there's so many training videos. If you look at everything pre-written for you, the digital business card, there's so much value. However, you can call it the recession special or whatever you want to call it, January, New Year, kickoff. We're going to charge you nothing for the additional boot camp for 20 days. So 5 days of mindset, 15 days of the boot camp, day in, day out. You guys need to be committed. And at the end of that period, we're still going to give you an extra 10 days, right? We're going to give you 30 days to participate in the boot camp, not charge you anything extra. And for 30 days, you get to test drive it for $1. That's it. So if you don't like it, no big deal. You know, your contacts are not going to be sucked out of the app. You'll still have them in there. It's nothing's going to be taken. You just won't have the same tracking ability and access to all the goodies. But $1 for 30 days. And I challenge you, if you can't spend $1 on yourself in 30 days, and yes, you have to put in your credit card, right? But again, the boot camp and the whole thing's over in 20 days, you still have 10 days to cancel if it's not working for you. And I will tell you, the only way this app is not working for you is if you don't do the work. I'm just going to be perfectly honest. I mean, that's a challenge. Everybody who's using this app and putting in the work. And again, yes, it'll be an hour or so for the first maybe few weeks tops. That's why also we're doing this in January, because if you can't spend $1 on yourself and an hour a day on yourself in your business, working on your business, not in your business, on your business. If you can't commit to that right now in this economy, I hate to be blunt, but you might as well just leave now, right? You shouldn't have renewed your license, because the bottom line is it's a challenge out there, and this app and everything we're going to teach you day by day, whether you do the app or not, stay in the group and take the boot camp, all right? Take the challenge regardless. Either way, you can do it any way you want, but why would you try and recreate the wheel when we've laid it out for you for $1? After the trial of 30 days, it's $99 a month. If you want to sign up for the year, you can do that as well. But there's nothing more effective, and there's nothing like this right now that makes it so easy for loan officers to work consistently, to be leaps and bounds ahead. All you have to do is we've gamified it on top of it. Play with the app for a few minutes every day. And
Elysia, I've heard you say a lot in the past couple of months as the economy's been turning in your industry, of that, like, high level people that have been around long enough have seen the ebbs and flows of things, have talked to that. And we've talked with some people that know, I mean, that are insiders, and a lot of it has just been like, people have to find a way to get back to the basics.
yes,
You know, talking about the free throws in the beginning, and back to the basics. Well, so what's happened with most technologies and tools that are out there and systems and all these people is that, like, they swung the pendulum so far in this digital world that they've lost the authenticity component of it. And what I said before, I don't know if you all caught us saying that we're going to teach you using this app how to show up authentically in a digital environment. So you're not one of those people. So we are helping you with getting back to the basics, but you're still using digital for you, right? Which is the world that we have to live in. It's just an upgrade from what the basics were. The problem is that usually upgrades come in incremental steps. Well, there was this huge time gap where there was no need to upgrade, and everything would just became this whole other, world of mass automations and blah, 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 blah. So that stuff kind of went away, but it's time for we're back to the basics, but now we're going to do the upgrade in there as we go.
yeah, because the bottom line is you have to practice these skills or you're not going to survive in this market. And on top of it, it's all pre-written for you. right? So you're practicing the skills. Yes, we want you to think, right? Because but it's not hard. It's like, do I know this person? Do they know me? Then are they a realtor? Or are they a client, borrower, right? We've made it pretty simple because we want you to succeed, right? For those of you who are still left in the industry, this is the easy button for you guys to crush it and start off 2023 the most powerful way possible. And I just want to challenge you for a minute. If you don't do this, if you don't spend $1 on yourself and an hour a day, right, for 20 days, that's 20 hours. That's not even half of a work week over 20 days. And we're not even going to do an hour a day for the first 5 days of motivation. But if you don't do this, what are you going to do? You can put your answer in the chat, but you know the answer, right? If you've got another plan and it's better, go do it. Otherwise, for $1, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And if you don't do something different in this market right now, you're going to be in real trouble. You don't even have to wait till second quarter, right? We're in the slowest quarter of the year. That's why we're doing this right now. Yeah, Ozzy, vamonos, let's go. Because if you're not, you're in trouble. And I don't say that to predict gloom and doom, because if you know me, that is not my style. I'm all about helping people succeed and support them any way I can. And that's why I work diligently for months with Rocco to create this app that we launched. So we'll go ahead and we'll put the link below. People ask, we have another question, are we using this app for CPAs and insurance agents? Yeah, you can. It's very simple, and we'll talk about that as well during the boot camp training. Yeah.
Yeah, and let me, here's what I want you all to know is how the boot camp training is going to run, is that we are focusing on one segment of your business right now, and that's realtors. And you're going to see things unlock when you get to the end. So there's a lot of other content in there that's going to allow you to bridge relationships with anybody in that capacity for your referral relationships, direct to consumers. But I need you all to be right here and narrowly focused, because you need to understand the neat thing about all the philosophy and the strategy is that it works with whatever type of prospect that you're gonna go to. And the app is, and by the way, we're just getting started with putting content in as the market, it's malleable, right? We've built something here.
We add new content every
product.
single month, if not every other week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're updating. We had a question Kelly asked. It says 15 days free in the app. Is it 15 or 30? Thanks a bunch. It was 15. We changed it to 30 for this January, for January 2023, where we are right now, because we're going to do 15 days, 5 days of motivation, and then 15 days of boot camp. And then we're like, you might as well just take the extra 10 days. So I wanted to give you guys all the tools to succeed.
Believe me, it's costing me money by giving you all the extra time. So
That's right.
Suck it up and enjoy it.
Kelly says, I'm super excited you're starting with mindset. Me too. I mean, I tell you, I'm so pumped up for 2023. I've got a lot of great stuff we're going to be talking about this month, and we'll be all doing it right in the group. So thank you guys who joined us today. I appreciate your participation. I appreciate Rocco, and I both appreciate your attention. I appreciate Rocco for being here, even with his busted thumb coming right from the doctor. So thank you. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the group tomorrow. We're going to start. So if you want in, if you're already in the group, great. Obviously, you're watching this. If not, you need to get in the group as soon as possible. And if we're doing a rebroadcast on this, we'll put that link below so you can join the group. Join us tomorrow. And I would say tomorrow morning, if not right now, right? There's stuff you can do right now if you want. Go ahead and get the app, download it, right? There's also a web version, okay? We do suggest you work in the app, right? Because you'll be able to text right out of it. The tracking's sharp if you're using it right out of your phone versus the website. But if that's all you can do and that's easier for you, do something instead of nothing at all. Absolutely get signed up for the app again. And I put that link below, and we'll also put it in the rebroadcast. So thank you guys so much for showing up. Happy New Year. Let's go 2023.
Happy New Year. Thanks, Elysia. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Rocco. Thanks, everybody.